Never underestimate just how much work is involved in fitting out the new interior of a car. It is unbelievable. I'm actually quite intimidated on the behalf of somebody else for the job of putting this back together again. It's like the most luxurious jigsaw puzzle ever. It's also really cool seeing I've now got an open linked gate here on my DBS shifter. What a project! It's so crisp. Yeah. I know this is really obvious, but it actually looks black now, which is great.
Yeah, because the obsidian black, if you put it against this, is
it's like a grey, is it?
Yeah.
Right. I'm just so pumped with how everything's so fresh.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah, walking over to the car just now, it's very easy to underestimate just how much work is involved. I mean, you've gutted the car.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's amazing.
There's nothing left in the car. Yeah. I've trimmed one door, so I've got another door to trim. So I've got the patterns ready. So you can cut that one out yourself.
Have you got some spare leather for when I definitely destroy this?
No, we've got plenty of leather. So.
This space never gets old. It's unbelievable. So the last time I was in here, it was sort of midway through the DB5 continuation series. Yep. How's that going?
So we just finished the last car. It's actually being shaken down today at Silverstone.
As it happens.
As it happens. So that program is now finished, and really this area of the business is turned over to all the restorations, and we've got quite a variance of cars from a fairly modern 1994 supercharged Vantage through to a DB6 to a DB5, and obviously our favourite piece of apparatus, the new DB5 body jig.
So how much work did this take to get this jig? Because not every DB5 is the same, right?
No, and what we had to do was to kind of take the medium between all those cars.
Right.
So we scanned 8 cars, plus the original jigs that we had as well. We overlaid all that material and gave all that to the design studio, and then they basically surfaced the car like they would with a brand new car, and came up with this perfect shape. In the old days, the pattern makers kind of made them by eye and hand, etc., and they did the best job they could then. But with the modern technology, with this Euro block, and be able to machine this from a solid piece, we understand that's a much, much higher quality. And you cannot get this type of quality of body panel unless you have this quality of fixture to work from.
Sure.
So nowhere else in the world has got anything like this.
And this has been picked off of multiple cross references and samples of other DB5s.
Yeah.
And then taking that and median.
Yeah, so 8 cars. We actually we got rid of one car because it's actually shorter than all the others.
Shorter?
Yeah.
Really?
They've obviously been involved in an accident. You're dealing with cars that are kind of 60 years old.
Of course.
So they've all had a bit of a life, and we took all that DNA, and that was the only way for us to kind of end up with a really true representation of the DB5. Because obviously it did morph over the years as well.
Yes. So last time we saw this, it was in bits.
Yeah, we've had your mats.
Oh wow, you had the
mats
mats done as well.
Took
matching
off.
Contrast stitch. Great touch. Brilliant.
That's your new door card now.
New, doesn't it? It's
with
so cool.
It's
It's actually a bigger uplift than I thought it would be.
It's surprising.
Because you just kind of think it'd go, of just
a
more
bit
black.
of stitching,
Yeah, a bit of stitching and some black.
Just a bit of stitching, but it's
a big lift. How long does it take to become proficient in this?
4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, it's 4 years to be proficient on this. I mean, I can wheel a piece of aluminium, but I don't make a piece of body with it.
I'm sure.
It's a true artisan way to make the aluminium, to bend the aluminium, and it works in both planes as well. So obviously, the DB5 body is made up of lots of different parts. They're made and then they're all kind of stitched together. But it's only by us investing in what we call the 3 Ps, in the people, the process, and the place, so we can sustain this going forward from here. It has to be commercial.
Most of the people that I speak to, your colleagues who work here, have been here for a long time, and their families have been here, and there's apprentices who have been here, and everyone I'm speaking to, it's like life's work. Why do you think that is? Because there's very few places which are like that.
I think there are very few places. I mean, I think everybody is very passionate about what we do. They're very dedicated about what we do. We are super proud of what we turn out at the end of the day. You know, this is the heritage home of the brand. You know, this is where a lot of the cars that we're restoring now started off life. And so for us, it's almost like a vocation. I mean, it's almost like a calling. And when you come here, there really isn't anywhere better to go. So why would you leave?
It's brilliant, isn't it? Super special.
So now this is the hide leather that we're rolling out. Smooth the hide out like that. I'm looking for any small blemishes. This is their CAD design pattern, this is. Everywhere's got CAD.
Right.
We've got cardboard
Card.
design.
That's the bit I should cut out. That's the bit I should do. That's my bit.
We'll put a weight on to hold the pattern still.
You got to cut around it.
Cut around the pattern with that.
Are you sure you want me to do that? I feel a bit of pressure
Blade,
here. It's a
so
brand new
you
blade.
don't have to push very. I mean, if you want to have a little practice on, just to cut a little bit of leather, just run it through there. Yeah, you can see how hard you have to push. So you don't have to.
Oh
push.
wow, yeah, it's okay.
It's a brand new blade.
Serious.
So yeah, trying to get on the pattern. Yeah. That's it, and that should just pop out.
So with some
then.
luck,
Not quite cut. If it's not, yeah, don't worry.
So
if it's
can you
not,
just
yeah,
nick
just get the knife, and I mean, it's only.
Oh, it's only
very,
a little,
it's only,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
This is actually going to go in the car.
that's actually going
I feel good about that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Oh.
There you go.
So what you've actually cut at the moment, that piece will go in there.
I see. Okay.
That's the two slits are for the where your door,
Okay. Yeah.
where that comes up and it goes down on your door pull. So that's going to sit on there like that. So those obviously you can see the sewing marks which line
Right.
up
I see. Yeah.
like that
Okay.
and like that. So now we'll put them together, pass them over to Sue, which is our sewing machinist, and then she will sew all the panels together. So all these 5 bits here, 4 or 5 bits, will be made up into one panel.
Okay.
then-
So it's sewn separately.
So it's sewn separately.
And then it gets
then it's all put together
inlaid that.
in that. Yeah.
So this is an interesting car because the owner of this car owned it new,
Okay.
sold it, and then
Right.
recently bought it back and wants to make it new again. And of course,
kidding.
nowhere else in the world has got the skills to be able to make this car new.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
Supercharged vantage. So
I didn't know that they were made like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the last
Stunning
of the truly handcrafted aluminium bodied Aston Martins. After this, we went to Vanquish. There were Superform panels, which were still hand fettled, but not to this extent. It's quite heavy.
But it's also got lots of power. So
550 horsepower, 550 foot-pounds of torque, relatively skinny tyres on the rear compared to what we're used to these days. So it can be a bit of a handful.
fun.
No traction control.
No, of course not. No.
And it's an honour for us to have this car as well, to restore it back to its original form.
So will this be repainted what it was, or is it going through a complete overhaul?
No, it's going to go exactly back to how she was. That's what the customer wants, is to make
Brilliant.
it exactly the same as the day he picked it up outside Sunnyside on the other side of the road in 1994.
So this was built on site here.
Yeah.
So you have all of the documents for this car?
Yes,
going
absolutely.
back?
Yeah. So we know, what the carpets were, what the carpet binding was, what the dashboard top was, what the colour of the steering wheel, etc., etc.
You're just not going to get that anywhere else, are you? No. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go, you're not going to have that file.
And some of the guys that work in this panel shop built this car. So we've still got the same team here.
This is what I'm talking about.
This is incredible.
It's amazing. I remember when we started the first phase of the project on the DBS, and Steve was imparting knowledge that only Steve would know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he pulled out one of the screws and he was like, "That's not factory." I was like, "What does that mean, Steve?" He's like, "Well, let's find out."
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was amazing for someone to know that.
We're now transitioning those skills and that knowledge onto the next generation.
Yeah.
So there are 5 apprentices in here at the moment.
Brilliant.
We're learning the skills, and we've got guys that have been here since the 1980s, work alongside the new team.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see how that interaction works. And also that's, from a sustainability point of view, means that in another 50 or 100 years' time, you'll still come back here and still be able to have these cars restored.
So we've got a pedal down here.
Yeah.
Safety always first.
Okay.
Keep your fingers away from the machine if at all possible.
Okay.
So all you need to do is actually just put your foot onto the pedal, just slowly, and you're away. It will take it.
Okay. I see. Progressive speed too, right? The more you accelerate, the more you'll go. I don't know why I'm intimidated by this.
Slow to start with.
Absolutely. Let's have a go. Oh, it's off.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, you've got to really finesse it. I mean, you can go crazy fast.
It's the same as a car. You just get to know the binding points and.
Right. So if I stop there and then heel back.
Yeah. Heel back, and you've cut.
Oh. So I'm going off track here.
I can see.
I'm about
from
half
here.
a stitch out.
Yeah.
Well, there's no undoing it, is there? That's
No,
it. It's sort of
no.
done, and it just sort of takes it in. It eats it as you're going, effectively. The throttle as well is the sharpest throttle I've ever felt. So it's like 1 minute it's sort of just like doing a few and then it just goes and off it goes. It's crazy. Right.
I'm going to do what I've just explained to you to do, but what I'm going to do is press that button,
Right.
which will take me back, and then I'll just make sure that everything's okay and that it's not, because sometimes the bobbin thread doesn't always pick up the top thread. You've got to go to your availability and just be confident of what you're doing.
You'll never look at a stitch in a car the same way again. You know, it's just things you just take for granted. When you see a contrast stitch, you're like, yeah, it looks nice. It's actually remarkable how transformative that is for something that is effectively quite straightforward.
Yes.
It's totally transformed it, isn't it?
Thank God for a twinning machine. That's all I can say.
I can imagine. Yeah.
If we could make sure that somebody's got a chassis plate that's bona fide that has come from a car that was either destroyed, written off or whatever, then we could build a complete car. You know?
Right. So, and you'll have that chassis plate on file?
Yeah, we know what the engine number,
Right.
chassis number, etc. would have been. I mean, it's no different to building a continuation car.
Sure.
A continuation car
Of course
is
it is,
a
yeah.
brand new Aston Martin.
Yes, of course it is. Yeah.
In 2023, that was actually designed and engineered in 1964.
Unreal.
So,
So it's like a tool room continuation, effectively.
yeah,
It's like a tool room
absolutely.
copy.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
It's just
we
amazing.
haven't done, but there's no reason why we couldn't do a standard DB5 for
Right.
a customer. You know, if somebody
Of course.
asked us to recreate a car that perhaps their mother or father
Yes,
owned
owned.
in 1964, that they
Yeah.
actually want to have a brand new version of that car that was lost many, many years ago.
That'd be a journey, wouldn't it?
It'd be great fun to do.
Unbelievable.
This is the joining stitch, but basically I'm pinching those two seams together. So it's just a line that I can unpick if I have to.
Okay.
So
So that's a line to get it lined up.
yes, that's the line to get it lined up.
That's pretty spot on.
Yeah. So now I'm going to go over the whole thing. This machine is sort of developed for like big, large items as well. So it's good for carpets because you can imagine if you're trying to get a big carpet under that machine,
Yes.
you're going to struggle.
So is that why this bridge, as it were, is so
it's
long?
it's called a long-armed machine.
It
Right, so
sounds
when
nice.
I've done the 10mm, then it
Okay.
turns out like that. On this cushion, there would be a calico strip attached to it, and
Okay.
then there's a plastic bit on the end of that, which the guys then, when they're fitting it,
Yeah.
they pull it through and pull it taut,
Okay,
so that it's
right.
all nice and neat.
And apparently this is the most difficult section to do.
To achieve.
Yeah. This really takes years and years and years to get the aluminium to flow both ways without it stretching and becoming buckled.
Right. And so then they'll take this and they'll match it with this buck here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So this will have been on the buck.
Right.
You see it
Okay.
start to be stitched together. You see where
Yes.
where the weld lines are.
Uh-huh.
But when it's finished, like it is on here,
I mean, it's
that all
seamless.
disappears.
It's
You can't see it.
seamless. It's
Yeah.
incredible. It effectively becomes one piece.
is what? Yeah, one piece.
So how long is it taking, like, averaged for a new chassis like this?
Well, the front end's about 400 hours.
400 hours just for the front end.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, prefaced by someone who's had 4 years worth of
absolutely.
experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
if you and I tried to do this,
well, it wouldn't happen
probably
full
2
stop.
years.
it would be all out
It'd
of
be a
shape.
bit wobbly in
Be all out of
places.
shape, yeah.
Right, so this is the inner of a seat squat.
yeah.
So it's what your back will sit on.
Yes.
So that is what we're going to actually achieve. I usually do that first so that when I'm doing my outer stitch, which I'm going to do the pattern that you want down there and twin it, then I've got a little bit of leeway if the machine moves or if something goes wrong.
Okay.
So that is what we are going to achieve.
So
Again,
you can sort of reframe it with your stitch
Yeah.
rather than having to replace the actual embroidery.
Yep. This backing is on the back of there and it keeps stitch and it keeps the shape. And what I'm going to do is put this in this frame, and sometimes it does take a little while to actually line it up. Right, hang on. I think it's because I've got to undo this a little bit. So basically I'm sticking the screwdriver in and or with my fingers tighten it so that it's actually going to be a lot tighter so that it stays put. Right, so now I'm going to walk the frame with the Alcantara panel over to the embroidery machine. I'm going to slide that into the position. It's going to start with the black, number 5, and then it's going to go to number 2.
So this is effectively a pre-programmed template,
Yes.
as it were.
Yes, so you can actually download stuff. It's got a format. Every machine takes a different format. This takes pairs, and you can basically download anything you want to off the internet.
Turn it into a pairs file.
Yes, anything, literally.
So a customer can come to you with pretty much anything, and you can convert it to embroidery.
We had somebody that wanted their dog put onto their seat, so their dog was put on it.
Paint shop. We spent quite a lot of time here.
You have.
It's unreal what you're able to do in-house. It's crazy.
We've got 4 booths on the side here. Now, each of these are climatically controlled, and each of these booths are on a 4-week cleaning cycle. So every 4 weeks we tear the whole booth down. Take the roof out, take the floor out, wash the walls down, and that's why we have that high level of cleanliness with our paint. So when we paint a car like your car, you get that beautiful, perfect finish. And this is unlike every 4 weeks. Yeah. So there's a very high level of cleanliness in this part of the business. It's the only way to deliver that perfect paint finish that we aspire to.
The way you're set up allows you to be incredibly flexible, because you're never doing the same thing twice, are you?
Exactly.
So every car's different.
Every car's different, every car's an individual,
Yeah.
and we can paint a white car, then a black car, then a green car, then a red car. We don't do them in any kind of sequence.
A production line would be
Production line, you can't do that, because once you've kind of fed it, that's what it wants. That's what's happening. So here we have an amazing ability to kind of scale up and scale down. So when we're doing Goldfinger continuation cars, we actually ran this particular department 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with 3 teams of people, and we never turned everything off.
Lots of silver.
Just lots of silver. They became silver blind in the end.
Yeah, I bet. So this is wrapping the sort of fascia of the glove box in Alcantara.
Yeah. Mark round, so you don't get any lines through the Alcantara.
So when you fold this over, how much time do you have before, or is that committed when you fold it in?
You've got a little bit of play,
right?
But nothing. On leather, you've got more than Alcantara, so you're just trying to get it all neat and not putting too much pressure on pulling it.
I mean, when you guys are saying you're doing it by hand, you are really doing it by hand, aren't you? I mean, it is full artisan job here.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's amazing. So how long is it taking you to learn this skill over the years?
So I've been here 23 years. My first day was with Chris.
Right? No way, really?
38 years, yeah.
Wow.
So we've sort of separated and then come back and work with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't want too much tension.
And effectively you're judging that tension and feel by experience.
Yeah, it's just losing all them creases, because it's so easy to put a crease.
To get a crease in.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden, Alcantara has become a wrap, almost.
Yeah.
It's really interesting watching you handle it. It's just like a wrap.
So you'll keep, you've got to move it round enough.
So how do you get that fold out now? You
just got to keep moving it and moving it.
So when this component would have been made originally, if it had Alcantara on it or if it had leather on it, would it have gone through a similar process that you're doing now?
Yeah. I honestly don't think that there was an option to have this in Alcantara.
Right.
Or off the production line. So I do actually think it's a one-off.
Brilliant. You made that look really easy.
Door. You have the pole going down.
Yeah, brilliant. And so on this side then, there ends up getting, I guess, the inside of the glove box fixed.
Yeah, so you'll get the finishing panel.
Brilliant. So you're having cars in here from all over the world?
Literally, all over the world.
So everywhere.
Probably about 75% of the cars in here will be owned by overseas owners. And again, that comes back to the provenance that we can offer the customer when they bring their heritage car back to the original factory, have it serviced, maintained or restored.
How many of those didn't you make?
3.
3 of them?
3 of them.
So just to see one of those is incredible.
It's a unicorn, really.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, you don't see those every day.
And was this an in-house project, or was this a Coachworks special?
No, it was done in-house at Aston Martin Works. We used to do quite a lot of specialist conversions, making shooting brakes, as we call them.
Yes.
Not estate cars, but shooting brakes. We did this one with 2 doors and 4 doors. The 4 doors were badged as Lagondas.
Okay. Yep.
Most 4-door Aston Martins were Lagondas.
Yes.
And there's lots of different conversions that happened here over the years, V600, etc., wide body Virage. and so on and so forth.
And again, you'll have all of the original documentation for this car.
All the drawings, etc. So yeah, we could. There's no one in the world who's got any of that.
No, no, I bet. Well, you couldn't take this anywhere else.
No.
This is your airbag pattern for your airbag door on the Alcantara. So what we do, we lay that on, mark round that, and then we square it all up to go on the embroidery machine, and we airbag the embroider the airbag into it.
So that's a legal thing,
for legislation,
isn't it? Right.
So this is the old leather cover that come off. So what we'll actually do, we'll mark that line, fold it underneath, and then that gets.
So that is effectively the airbag deployment hatch.
On that,
there,
and that will butt up to your end vent.
So how far through the overall project do you think we are now? We're halfway?
We're probably about 3/4 of the way through it now.
Okay, wow.
So yeah, we've got headlining and seats to do, and just finish off what we've got today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you then pass or hand over the trimmed parts to the team next door?
It'll go back to George, and
brilliant.
Once everything's ready, obviously headlining goes in first, then we sort of work our way down and do everything.
Brilliant.
It all goes back together, And
Not long.
And then you come back in and see it all.
Fantastic. And then we need to come up with a first drive. I think since we've had the car sprayed, we've not actually driven it on camera yet. No. So we need to come up with some sort of elaborate thing. So if anyone's got any ideas, comments below, and we'll try and come up with some like really rock and roll first drive.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome. So.
Yeah, it'll be good, yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, that's all right.
That is a one family owner DB6, originally owned by a lady whose family published Autocar Motor.
Really?
She had it brand new, lived in London. It's a manual transmission, non-power steering DB6.
Okay, so actual barn find effectively.
This is, when we say barn find, it doesn't come much
literally
more barn
barny
than this. So, yeah.
So when a car like this comes in, you'll then cross-reference chassis numbers and things, and you'll go back and check it out.
And we did that already with this car.
Right.
So we know that underneath the dust, it is black.
Is it? Because it looks
black.
navy, but it is black.
It's black, which is again very rare for a car to be black. Yeah. In the 1960s.
And that's its original
That's its
colour.
original colour. Most of the paint is original as well.
Wow.
And then the interior, bizarre enough, is a special Bridge of Weir tan, which wasn't available off the standard colour palette.
So it's a special option on that.
Very special option, almost, if you like, 1967 Q.
Q, yeah. How cool is that? So this is a continuation block, effectively, for a DB5 Goldfinger.
Correct.
How does this differ to, I guess, a standard one?
Obviously, when we did Goldfinger cars, we couldn't go out and just buy blocks off the shelf.
Right.
We looked at the tooling we had available to us at the time, and it wasn't of a high enough quality for the vehicle we wanted to manufacture. So these are actually cast by the same company that cast the blocks for the Aston Martin from 1-2.
Really?
So we use a very high level of metallurgy. So organically, this block is actually stiffer than the original block was. Right. So we get a little bit more power from it. And obviously a lot of these engines, they're getting very old, so you get corrosion because they're aluminium.
Sure.
So 50% of DB5s have lost the original engine. In fact, probably more than that.
50%?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't expect that.
At that point in time, people weren't too bothered about matching numbers. All they wanted is get their car back on the road.
Back on the road again.
What we do with these is we're able to stamp them with the original engine number with a suffix or a slash and a C, so everyone knows it's the continuation model, not the original engine that's in the car. But it does give you that provenance of having a proper Aston Martin engine from 2023 now back into your car.
That's a game changer, isn't it?
It's a big game changer.
It's a game changer. So I'm assuming a similar scenario with the gearbox.
Absolutely. So this is to the original specification ZF gearbox, still made by ZF in Germany.
Is it?
And they hadn't made this gearbox since 1972, so we invested quite a lot of euros in making all the tooling to remanufacture this gearbox. And it's a unique gear cluster for Aston Martin. Although the physical gearbox was used for some other cars, the actual internals are unique to Aston Martin. Not been available for many, many years. So again, if you've got a DB6, a DB5 or a DBS6 and it's lost its gearbox, which again, I've seen quite a lot with Jaguar gearboxes and Tremec gearboxes and even with Toyota gearboxes.
Okay.
But
Whatever
the value
makes it run.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But of course, with the value of these vehicles now,
Yeah, of
people
course.
want to have the right item, the official item back in it, and you just couldn't get these gearboxes. But remanufacturing these means that customers with those cars have now got the ability to put them back into good orders.
So if you're looking to restore a car to as best a concours condition as you can, this is a massive step in the right direction, because it's a certified continuation component.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a lot of the gearboxes have covered quite a few miles. Some have been rebuilt maybe 3 or 4 times. They won't take another rebuild.
Sure.
Again, you've got all the items there.
That in. So you've got templates in all of these cupboards here, which are effectively still off what the original template was.
Some are the original ones. So you see we have Vanquish, which are all manufactured and trimmed here. A lot of the DB7 ones are original ones.
Talk to me about the significance of the fluting, I guess it is, in the seat of a DB5.
Yeah, DB5 seat or a DB5, you should sit in a DB5, not on a DB5. So this seat base has been manufactured exactly the same as it was in the 1960s. So we take the calico, we take the leather, the Connolly Vomol leather, and it's made up into little pockets. And the pockets are actually stuff from behind to give it the right tension. So when you sit in the car, your H point sits down inside the car. So the H point needs to be as close to the centre of gravity of the car. If it's in the wrong position, and it is in quite a lot of DB5s where they've been restored elsewhere, then you sit too high in the car. You only sit 1 inch or 2 inches higher in the car. And because of the type of vehicle it is and the way that you drive it, and you will understand as being a driver, you drive a DB5 through your backside.
Yeah.
You do.
Yes.
You feel it.
It's true.
It's all moving. It's all happening underneath you.
Yes.
And if your H point's too high, as you go around the bend, the car will feel like it rolls too much because you sit that much higher. So you get that leaning. And obviously the other thing is you slide out the seat and sit in the centre console, which is very uncomfortable as well. So you don't want that to happen. And we did a huge amount of work on DB4 GT continuation.
Yes.
Just getting that in the right place because it was a competition car. You must get your H point in the right position.
So your experience could sit in a appropriately fluted DB5 and one that's been done elsewhere, and you will be able to instantly know that this is something
I'll be able
not
to
right.
tell you,
not right.
even sitting behind the seat, the first thing will happen if it's not been done correctly, if it's been over padded, is my legs will rub on the steering wheel.
Seriously? It's that finite a margin?
Yeah. As soon as my legs rub on the steering wheel, I know
something's
that actually
wrong.
there's no point in even driving the car.
Seriously? It's that much of a difference?
Yeah, huge difference.
So the driving profile and characteristics of a DB5 come out of that there? Starts here. It's absolutely bonkers.
You've got the steering input and throttle and brake input, but actually on these cars that move around, particularly on cross-ply tyres, you have to feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it in your backside before you feel it anywhere else.
Isn't that mad? So this is essential. This is a massive part of the DNA of how that car feels.
Massive.
And you've got loads of learning from developing continuation and race cars into what that profile should be like.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a distinct measurement.
Oh, I love that. It's so cool.